What is up, my people? You're listening to The Introverted Nerd Watches. I am your host, Reese, and I am back for more Fear the Walking Dead. Yes, people, I made it through that episode, and I am here to talk about it. I deserve a round of applause and a treat because goddamn. This week I watched season 4, episode 15, I Lose People. You guys, I'm done with this show. I mean, I already made it clear that I was not coming back for season 5, but they are making it, they're like punishing me for it. I feel like this episode was my punishment for for announcing it early because, man, I can't even, this wasn't even a terrible episode. It's just, it had all of the elements that I hate about The Walking Dead. Yeah, it was just a bummer. It was just it just bummed me out and I could not get through it. Like, I was really bored. I live tweeted the episode last night, and because it's Monday and I'm recording on Monday. So I was live tweeting the episode last night and I looked at the clock and it was only 9:40 and I was like, oh shit. Like, I seriously thought the episode was almost over. That's how bored I was. I mean, I was live tweeting it and I was still bored. And then I just got finished watching the episode today. It took me 2 hours to watch this episode because I kept stopping. I kept getting distracted. Like, I'm sorry. I just can't with this show. I'm not feeling it at all. But I do have an announcement to make. So stay tuned to the end of the podcast. I'll announce it at the end. But before we get into the episode, before I give you my full review, god damn it, I can't think of words right now. Before I give you my full review, you should subscribe to the podcast. The Introverted Nerd Watches is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher. It's even on Spotify and iHeartRadio. So go to all of those places, subscribe, leave me a 5-star review, and yeah. So that's what I need. I deserve a 5-star review for getting through this season. This is only episode 15. I'm coming back for episode 16, you guys. Come on. Leave me a review. I deserve it. So let's get into I Lose People because it's obviously Morgan, right? Morgan loses people and he loses himself. And that's the title of next week's episode. This week is I Lose People. Next week is I Lose Myself. And then I lose, whatever it is. It's Morgan's words. Martha is still out on these streets being all crazy. Morgan is, he's having like a crisis. He can't make decisions. He's feeling bad. Jimbo is being Jimbo and he's spreading light and sunshine all over the place. God damn, I hate him. And he lasted the entire goddamn episode. Like, he refused to die. He was looking sick, but he just refused to die. He's blaming Morgan. He's just being an annoying asshole. And it's like, come on. You can't have him do both things. You can't have him, be bit and just sitting there roasting everybody. Like, that was his job in this episode, like, to be sick and just to be a dick. And it's like, do we really deserve this? Like, we're fans, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm obviously not a fan of the show like other people are, because I listen to other podcasts and they really like this shit. So, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just not into this, whatever this is. I'm willing to, no, I'm not. I'm calling out when stuff is bad. I don't want to just shit on the show, which is why I'm not podcasting about it anymore, because it's not even fun to talk about. Like, I love bad stuff. I mean, one of my favorite movies is The Room. So I am not above, bad, just enjoying something that's bad. But this is not enjoyably bad. This is just bad. And it's not any fun for me to talk about. I don't think it's any fun to listen to somebody just come in every week to shit on something that you probably like. So yeah, whatever. So Morgan is doubting himself. He doesn't know how to get them off of the roof. One of the funny things was that, as Jimbo is being a dick to everybody, Wendell is like, so when he dies and he becomes one of those skin munchers, can I have the honor of killing him? And Jimbo had the nerve to be like insulted, like, really, bedside manner. And it's like, you dick. Like, who the fuck are you, Jimbo, to be like, to have your feelings hurt because somebody wants to put your ass down? Oh, you're the worst. Why was Jimbo even in this season? Why did they need him? Because this episode ends with, I guess, the redemption of Jimbo, but it was so unearned. He was just I don't understand why he was here. Was it for the beer? Like, come on, you guys. Like, the beer thing was amusing in the first episode, but it stopped being amusing, and it's annoying. He didn't add anything to the show. Like, this show would have been exactly the same whether Jimbo was, like, all of these episodes could have been exactly the same if Jimbo wasn't in any of them. He didn't add anything. And, I told you when he first came on a few episodes ago that he was the Eugene to me. And he still has the stink of a Eugene on him. A person that really doesn't add anything, that, I don't know why they're here. Thankfully, this show got rid of their Eugene. He didn't stick around. So that's something I'm thankful for. But the fact that we had to suffer, what was it? Like, it's been like 3-4 episodes with the Jimbo. Yeah. I wasn't feeling it, and I'm glad he's dead. He took way too long to die. So, June, ever optimistic June. Why? Because Morgan is like, he's standing over in the corner. I guess he's sort of believing what Jimbo was saying, because Jimbo was constantly saying, this is Morgan's fault. He can't help us. He's going to get everybody else killed and everything. And I guess Morgan is sort of internalizing that. So, he can't figure anything out. He's doubting himself. June is trying to talk him up, telling him, still asking him, like, what are we going to do? How are we going to get off of this roof? And I'm like, girl, you see Morgan is struggling. Why are you continuing to ask him what to do? How many of y'all here? Like, it's June, Luciana, Wendell, Sarah, they're all up there on that roof with Morgan. They all know how to survive by themselves. They've all been surviving this long. It's not like on The Walking Dead where where they would come up on groups on people like earlier in the seasons, like in the fourth season when they come up on Tara, when they meet Tara and everything, and Tara doesn't know how to do anything, she doesn't know how to take care of herself. this is a completely different situation where these people have been surviving on their own. They know how to survive. So I don't know why we're standing while they're all standing around, waiting for Morgan to come up with a plan. Like, stop it. Stop trying to make Morgan a thing. Stop trying to make fetch happen. Morgan is not a leader. He's not. This just isn't working. So to continually have June trying to pump Morgan up as if he's some kind of leader, he's not. This isn't working the way that they're doing it. Morgan the leader isn't working. So they need to do something else. And so this is where the problem, what was that? This is where the problems kind of start. Because this is when I started noticing all of the Walking Dead problems that they started to pull over onto the show. So we see Strand and John Dory. Alicia, the end of the episode, as if we didn't know that that Alicia and Charlie saw Strand and John Dory across that body of water. This episode we see finally that, they saw them, they, wave to each other across the water. And this is where we find out that John Dory and Victor Strand have completely switched positions. So John is the one that's that has no faith anymore. He doesn't believe that they're going to be rescued. He says he's stuck the way he was stuck when he was living by himself, at his place. And now Strand, total believer, completely, buys into it, sees Alicia with Charlie, and he's telling John Dory, like, look, I have faith now because I see Alicia with Charlie. Look what Charlie did to Alicia, but Alicia is willing to work with her. So that has to be a good thing. I have all the faith now, and he's encouraging John Dory. And it's like, really? It's only been, I'm guessing, a few hours since, we saw them in the last episode, and there's just, and I understand at the end of that episode where they try to get off that island, John Dory eats the candy that was meant for June, and that's supposed to be his giving up. I didn't realize it was going to be this complete, where he sees Charlie and Alicia across the water, and he's like, and they leave to go get something to, try to get across to help them across the water. But when he sees them leave, he's like, oh, they're not coming back. Like, he's completely like given up, like zero faith at all. They're not coming back. Like, really? And this happens on The Walking Dead a lot, just because they need conflict. You have people completely change positions. Like, it happened with Morgan and Jesus. People. Who was it? Was it Morgan and Jesus, or was it Jesus and Tara? Whatever. This happens a lot. People completely change their positions because they like to keep the conflict going, but they can't think of a good way to do it. So they just have two people who, one person was on one side, one person was on the other side, and then those two people completely, sort of swap personalities, and and they're arguing the other side all of a sudden. And this happens a lot on The Walking Dead, and it is bad, and it's bad here too. So turns out that all of the things that we saw for, these last 5 episodes being sort of seeming like insurmountable, obstacles for them, are not obstacles at all. So, everybody on the roof, the new plan to get off the roof instead of, just looking down on the street is for to go back down the stairs from where they came. So to get back on the elevator, go back downstairs in the hospital and try to get out that way. And it turns out when they go get off the elevator, everything is clear. So Al cleared everything out for everybody. Zombies are dead all over the place. The hallways are completely clear. Who knows what Al did, how she cleared everything out, but she did it. And so they get stopped at the gate, and Morgan, wants to sacrifice himself because Morgan feels bad because he believes what Jimbo said, blah, blah, blah. So Morgan's idea to sacrifice himself is to go back up on the roof with Jimbo because Jimbo refused to leave. He's dying. He doesn't give a shit about anything. He's up there pissing off the roof and everything, refusing to help them, just, sitting there waiting to die, watching them try to figure everything out. So while everybody is down, at the gate, surrounded by zombies, Morgan goes back up on the roof, and his plan is to take one of those zombies, one of the dead ones, swing it onto a car that's sitting outside the hospital, and I guess cross his fingers and hope that car has an alarm on it so that it distracts the zombies. And Morgan is a magical Negro, so of course it works, and it distracts the zombies. They get to escape onto an ambulance, and they try to get Morgan to come with them, but he won't come because another thing that happens a lot on The Walking Dead, and it happened a few episodes ago, is the car alarm stops because I guess the battery dies. And we just saw the battery die for John Dory on the horn a few episodes ago. Why, people? Why? First of all, why would Morgan think that car had an alarm that he could set off like that? How was he so lucky as to swing that zombie to get it to hit that car? Like, whatever. This is like stupid logistical stuff that just, it wasn't even that cool. So, I mean, I'm always about the rule of cool. If something looks cool, I'm willing to sort of look past the logistics of it. Jurassic Park, the T-Rex coming out of coming out of his pen, cool as shit. The people, the Lex, Tim, and Dr. Grant dropping off of that side thing while the T-Rex is pushing the car over on them, really cool. You can sort of look past the fact that earlier in the movie that that drop off didn't exist because it was cool, right? So I completely understand that. I'm completely willing to look past that stuff. This was not cool. Morgan throwing a zombie onto a car to get the alarm to go off, not cool. It was just stupid. So anyway, it works for a little while. They leave. Morgan and Jimbo are stuck together, and back to Alicia and Charlie, who are looking for something to get across that water. And they start looking for a car. And I'm like, okay, first of all, they see a bathtub, and Charlie suggests, using the bathtub to get across the water. And Alicia says, well, they said that there were alligators in the water. And I'm like, hold on a second. We don't see them talk to Strand and John. And John and Strand also don't have a walkie-talkie. So how did they communicate? Like, were they just yelling across the water? And I'm like, why would you do that when there are zombies all over the place and just the noise and like, I don't care. Anyway, they're looking for something. The Martha comes up because Martha has been, looking at the map. And she's all bleeding and crazy. Her wound is all fucked up. And so she comes up on Alicia and Charlie, starts shooting, and is yelling at them. Alicia is telling her, we'll help you. And that's when Martha shoots again. And Alicia keeps saying, we'll help you. And Martha keeps shooting after she says, we'll help you, and telling her, I don't want your help. Martha keeps saying, I do not want your help. I don't know how much more clear she can be. She is speaking very good English. She is an English teacher. I don't know why why Morgan and Alicia or anybody will listen to her when she says, I don't want your help. Oh my God. But luckily for them, Martha passes out. She just drops, like she just drops. I don't know, like I guess she lost a lot of blood, but whatever. I don't care. This is going to be a short episode because there's so much I don't care about. So Alicia and Charlie go up to Martha, and instead of pulling a bullet in her head and killing this bitch because she's crazy as shit, Alicia helps her, cleans her wounds, ties her up in the back of the van. And they take Al's van because Martha has unlimited diesel, so they can just drive everywhere because whatever. Once again, I'm not even getting into this. Alicia takes Al's van or Al's truck, and they drive across the water. And I'm like, really? You could just drive across the water? So once again, another, insurmountable obstacle is just, it was just like they could have walked across. Like that water wasn't deep at all. Like, whatever. I thought that as deep as I thought that water was really deep. I don't know why. I just thought it was like really deep water, but it turns out it was just, with a big enough truck, you could just drive across. Whatever. I'm so frustrated with this show. So another thing that happens is that the gang has to get back together. And so Alicia, who I think went in the opposite direction from Morgan in the group at the hospital. Like, I think Morgan in the group went east and Alicia went west. But somehow June, who is like constantly trying to get out on the radio, somehow Alicia picks up June. Alicia, they make contact with June. And whatever, they make contact. She talks to June, tells her John Dory is alive. And then she talks to Morgan, and she tells Morgan that she listened to him, and she's helping people now. And so Morgan's proselytizing has worked for some reason. And it's so annoying, and I don't care about Morgan or any of this stuff. And so Martha Martha wakes up in the back of the truck with Strand and Alicia. She's all mad because Alicia cleaned her wounds, and she's freaking out trying to rip off the bandages. Um it's so stupid because she's trying to rip off the bandages. She's like screaming, no. Why would you do this? I didn't want your help. Alicia helped her because of Charlie and Morgan. Because Charlie is on this new thing where she's going to be this annoying kid that is just like, no, we have to save them. She's going like this is going to get real annoying because she doesn't want to, she wants to save everybody now. And it's like, girl, please kill this kid. Like, I'm so upset because I so wanted Charlie to get eaten by an alligator. By the way, where the fuck was the alligator in this episode? That was another thing. Like, they spent that entire fucking episode trying to get across the water, and the alligator was the problem. And then they just drive across in Al's truck, no alligator, no problem. Like, we spent a whole episode on that. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, so the rest of the group meets up while Morgan is on the roof, and they all go back. They call Morgan on the radio, like, Morgan, we came back for you. And it's supposed to be this whole inspiring thing where they all talk to Morgan on the radio, and they they tell Morgan, we're not going to leave you behind. Because why? Like, you barely know Morgan. Like, none of you people really know him. I guess Morgan and Alicia kind of had a moment where he helped her after the incident at the stadium. And I get Morgan and John Dory being kind of close. But the rest of these people don't know shit about Morgan. They weren't that close to him. I don't know why we're acting like these people are close. We spent all this time trying to get this group back together when I have been saying the whole time, none of these people know each other. Like, there's this group. There's Alicia, Strand, and Lucy, who are a group unto themselves. They're close to each other. They kind of know June, but not really. They thought her name was Naomi. Charlie killed Alicia's brother, and she was just about to kill her like 3 episodes ago or something like that. Like, none of these people are that close. And I guess we're supposed to believe that they're all so inspired by Morgan's message that they all want to stick together. And don't even get me started on Wendell and Sarah, who I love. They're great, but why are they sticking around? Whatever. They're so inspired by Morgan. They love Morgan. So they go back to save him, and they find like some sort of fire truck, I guess it is. And it has the ladder on top. The truck doesn't work, but the hydraulics still work. What? Amazing. Like, really? Do we really need to do all this? So Morgan and Jimbo are on the roof. Morgan is apologizing to Jimbo. He tried to talk to Jimbo earlier in the episode and tell him, like, you're going to die, dude, but you can go out like being helpful. And for the entire fucking episode, Jimbo is like, fuck that. This is your fault, Morgan. He just wanted to sit around and complain. But then we get here, and I guess he's inspired by the fact that everybody else came back to save Morgan. So he gets inspired, he loses the attitude, and Jimbo has a change of heart. And this is what I was saying, that they tried to redeem Jimbo in the end. So I guess we leave this episode thinking Jimbo wasn't that bad, but it's like if you watch the entire fucking episode, yeah, he was that bad. Like he sucked. Jimbo was the worst. Like I don't understand why we needed this Jimbo redemption arc. That guy was just awful. Um so and another thing that happened earlier in the episode is that Sarah tries to talk Jimbo into giving her his beer recipe. And I'm like, we still talking about this beer. You know, she tries to tell him the beer will this is so ridiculous. She tells him the beer will be his legacy, and you know, it'll last on without him. But I'm like, how good is this beer? Like, I'm not a beer drinker really, so you know, it's whatever. I don't think I've ever tasted any beer that tasted good to me. But apparently this beer has like heroin in it or something, because it is really addictive. Sarah can't get enough of it. We saw Polar Bear, like he had an orgasm just drinking that shit. So apparently this beer really special. So she asks him for his recipe, and he's like, he basically throws up the middle finger and is like, fuck you, Sarah. I'm not telling you shit. My beer is great. I know my beer is great, but I'm not telling you the recipe. And Sarah had the nerve to get mad. And I was like, hold on in a minute, Sarah. You're my girl. I love you. I love the nicknames you have for everybody. But come on now. You kidnapped this guy. Like, what the fuck are you even doing? Like, asking for a favor. And I don't know why, like, she tells Jimbo, she basically reads Jimbo after he tells Morgan that he's not going to help. She basically tells him, like, what she tells him, you're the philosophical equivalent of a fart or something like that when you enter. Like, she basically tells him, you suck. You bring everybody down. You're trash. You're garbage. It's basically what she says to him, in a more Sarah way of saying it, but that's what she says. And I'm like, what made any of you people think that Jimbo was the guy that was going to do anything just because just to be a nice guy? Like, have I been watching the same Jimbo? Like, you guys have been around him. I have been watching this. Nothing about Jimbo says that he's the type of guy that would do something for a bunch of strangers just because, you know, just to be a nice guy. So, you know, you're all setting yourself up. And another thing I have a real problem with is, like, go to a fucking bookstore. Go to a library. I'm sure there are a ton of books around. They're in Austin, Texas right now. I am sure that in Austin, Texas, even back in, I don't know what year this is, 2010 or whatever year the apocalypse happened, I am almost positive that there are a ton of bookstores around Austin that had instructions for how to make beer. Like, come on. I don't care about Jimbo's beer, and this is stupid. So anyway, they're all trying to save Morgan. Morgan has to, you know, do a Spider-Man, leap down a building or whatever. He tries to get Jimbo to come with him, but you know, Jimbo's like, nah, man, you know, I'm about to die up here. I'm not climbing, scaling this building to try to get off just so I can die down there on the ground. So, Morgan gets down, you know, he scales his way down, and he has a whole, wrestling match with a really strong zombie, but John Dory is there, and he trick shotted, he killed the zombie that was by Morgan. So John Dory still has his, you know, he still has that shot. And So Morgan gets down and they get stuck on top of this fire truck. And Jimbo finally does something to help the group. He calls Morgan and he tells Morgan, yo, I got this. And he calls Sarah and he tells Sarah, you know what? I just what does he say? He just tells Sarah, I'm going to give you my recipe now, write my recipe down. So he gives her the entire fucking recipe, and then he whispers something to her at the end. He tells her to put the radio up to your ear, and he whispers something to her, and we can't hear what he says either. So, and they don't tell you on closed captioning either. So who knows? Maybe that'll come back next week. Maybe not. If it doesn't come back next week, then I will never know because I am not watching season 5. And then Jimbo pulls a Morgan and jumps down, jumps off the roof on top of a car that also has an alarm, and that distracts all the zombies, and they're able to get away. And Jimbo the hero. Whatever. But while they were doing all that, Martha had time to escape. Because there's 16 episodes and they need something to do for the season finale. So Martha had to escape because she has to, I don't know, do her Joker routine, and she's annoying. Like, I'm done with her. Like, she was more interesting to me a few episodes ago, but now we know stuff about her, and it's not interesting anymore. It's just stupid. And it's like, why aren't you killing her? Like, this is the dumb, don't take these lessons from Morgan. You kill people that do the shit that she's done. Like, you really have to put people like her down. She is just not the type of person that's redeemable in the zombie apocalypse. I'm sorry. She is the adult version of Lizzie, that Carol killed. She needs to be put down. And she's probably going to die next week. Like, I don't know. I'm just so, I don't know, you guys. The woman is a really good actress. She's really good at it. She's good at playing this, modified version of the Joker. It's just, I don't care anymore. And this has just been dragged out. This feels like so long. It feels like forever for somebody who just wants to cause chaos or who's just obsessed with Morgan. Like, I don't know. Like, we saw Morgan's interview with Al. So, like, what did she see in Morgan's tape, in Morgan's interview, that made her, like, this obsessed with Morgan? Who knows? And I don't even know that we're going to find out. I don't even know that I really care that much anymore. I'm just ready for this to be over. So, Martha escapes, and the last we see of her is that she's writing on Jimbo's face because Jimbo gave his beer recipe over the radio. Martha has a damn good memory, and she writes Jimbo's recipe all over his face. So that's the last we see of her, and inexplicably, it's nighttime outside when she's doing this. It was the middle of the day when Morgan got off that roof. So I don't when Jimbo jumped off the roof, it was daytime, like sunshine, daytime. But now it's, pitch black outside. Jimbo still hasn't turned yet. So, and she had enough time to write his long ass recipe all over his face. And whatever. Convenient zombies again. That's just the answer to everything. It's convenient zombies. So the group minus Al, we got, oh, by the way, we got a letter from Al. Al left a letter for the group, you know, telling them that I forget where she went to hide out or something like that. But she tells them she went to hide out to get her truck and her tapes back from the cunt, or the C word. She uses the C word because, okay, this is another thing that totally got me. So they make it into this garage area. Luciana finds the note that Al wrote, and she's like, "Oh, I got the note." And then Luciana is reading it, but she's not reading it out loud. So she's not reading it out loud. And then Sarah walks over to her and takes the note out of her hand and reads it out loud. And I'm like, Sarah, Luciana doesn't have anything to do. You cannot, like, why couldn't Luciana read that note to the group? And I thought at first I was like, are they trying to say that Lucy can't read English? But I'm like, she recognized the fact that Al left a note. So obviously she recognizes English. But they sent Sarah over to read the note. Lucy had nothing to do. Why is she still on this show? You know, the actress is fine, but why is she still on this show? She really has nothing to do. Like, she had a chance to read Al's note, and they gave it to Sarah to read. So she's really useless. She is just a body in this show. They won't give her anything to do. Let this woman, like, kill this character. Let this woman go on to do something else, because it's just really, it's kind of shameful that they won't use her at this point. But whatever. End of the episode. Everybody's in the car. They have, like, what's supposed to be like this funny group moment where they try to come up with a name for Jimbo's beer. And Sarah decides that it's going to be Jimbo's Beerbos, which is not funny. And it's like, I don't get it, but whatever. They spent way too much screen time trying to come up with a name for Jimbo's beer. And then June once again asks, like, what are we going to do next? I think it's June that asks. She's like, what are we going to do? And Morgan decides, I told all of you that, we could go to Virginia. So now after we find Al, I think we should all go to Virginia. This is another thing. Like, they have to go to Virginia, right? Like, I have been of the opinion that I don't think that they're going to recross over. I don't think all of these characters are going over to The Walking Dead. But I don't know why they would base their season on, or this half season, on something that may not happen. Whatever. Unless next season is going to be them traveling to Alexandria, I cannot imagine 16 episodes. Like, that just sounds horrible. 16 episodes on the road to Alexandria? Oh my God, dude. That just sounds terrible. So, the episode ends with, Martha wrote on Jimbo's face. Jimbo finally wakes up. She puts a stick through his neck, like, to pin him to the top of the truck. And then she says to him in her crazy way, "You're strong now, so let's go make him strong too." And the him she's talking about is Morgan. And that is the end of the episode, you guys. I'm ready for this season to be over. I'm done with it. And I'm moving on to better things. So, like I said earlier in the episode, I have an announcement. in order to cleanse my palate from all of this, terrible Fear the Walking Dead that I haven't been enjoying, I am going to be podcasting about season 2 of The Gifted. The Gifted is the superhero show that's on Fox. It starts again on Tuesday the 25th. The season premiere is on Fox. So I don't have the set schedule yet, but the first episode is going to be out this week. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Watch The Gifted. That show is amazing. It's the best. It's the best version of X-Men that we've seen on screen so far. So I hope everybody watches the show. I'm so excited about it. I also have Black Lightning coming back, so I'm going to be podcasting about season 2 of that. And that'll be a lot of fun. I'm still doing Saved by the Bell, so if you're here for Saved by the Bell, you will get your episode of Saved by the Bell on Thursday. And I don't want to forget, I was on the last episode of the Why So Serious podcast. It's a comic book podcast. Those guys are awesome. Brandon, Devin, Michael. I had a ton of fun on that episode. The episode I was on was called Bat Penis. We talked about Batman's penis. I had a whole lot of fun with those guys. It was so much fun. I really like them. So everybody go listen to the Why So Serious podcast, subscribe to them. So they're great. And I might be going back on to do an episode of Black Lightning with them. So whatever. Subscribe to their podcast. They're all great guys. If you listen to me, you probably already listened to them. But whatever. They're a lot of fun. And so listen to their podcast. Follow me on social media. Almost forgot. I'm on Twitter at NerdTrovertPod. You can follow me personally on Twitter at TheIntrovertedNerd. On Instagram, I'm at TheIntrovertedNerd, and like the Facebook page at facebook.com/TheIntrovertedNerd. And if you want to send me some feedback about The Gifted coming up or Black Lightning, or you just want to yell at me about my hatred of Fear the Walking Dead at this point, send it to TheIntrovertedNerd@gmail.com, and I will answer all of those emails because I'm not afraid of you. I will defend all of my opinions about Fear the Walking Dead. So until next week, you guys, for the season finale of this show. Bye.